Hello everybody, welcome to the Generic Happy YouTube channel. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. I'm Amar, otherwise known as Generic Happy, and earlier today I uploaded my predictions video for the June 2024 Nintendo Direct, which we now know will be airing on June 18th, 2024 at 7 a.m. PT, 10 a.m. ET, which at the time of recording this is just a little bit over 13 hours away, which is really crazy. You know, we're really close to Nintendo Direct. But I figured I would also do a video with the building of my bingo card for this Nintendo Direct. Because I usually do make bingo cards for the Nintendo Directs, because I think they're just a really fun thing to do as a community. And I usually don't record a video of me creating them. I think maybe last June, maybe last September, I did a video for it. But I figured, you know, it'd be pretty cool to make one for this Direct. I've already made it theoretically. You know, I have all the items that I would want to add to my bingo card, and they're all in specific spots that was randomized. I didn't really choose, I didn't really put certain games or anything really in like specific spots. I just put them on the board and see where they landed, I guess. But a lot of these selections are from my predictions earlier today. So if you're interested in getting a little bit more of explanatory information on those predictions, please feel free to check out that video. I don't know how much I'll go into most of these selections, you know, in terms of why I chose to put them on the board. But there are a couple of predictions, or I guess theoretically they would just be hopes that I did add to the bingo card and technically to my predictions that I will talk about because I did not talk about them in the video earlier today. But if you do enjoy this video, please feel free to subscribe to the channel. Check out any other videos that are like this. If you do enjoy this type of video, please feel free to leave a like on the video and leave a comment down below on some of your predictions related to this Nintendo Direct. I mean, again, it is just over 13 hours away, so we're very close. And yeah, so without further ado, let us get right into this video, or building this bingo card. So the first selection I made was what I would make my free space. It was pretty simple. I chose the Nintendo Switch logo just because I feel like this is probably either the last Nintendo Direct in the Nintendo Switch era, or the second to last Nintendo Direct in the Nintendo Switch era. And when I say that, I mean the last Nintendo Direct, they'll be focused exclusively on the Nintendo Switch. I think we'll probably get a couple of directs after the next console releases that, you know, have Nintendo Switch games in them, but I figured this is, you know, maybe the last Nintendo Direct exclusively focused on the Nintendo Switch. So, you know, why not use that as the basis of this bingo card? You know, and it's a really cool logo. So the first actual selection that I made for the bingo card is Mario Party, which is very cool. I think this is probably on most people's bingo cards, or what most people are predicting for this Nintendo Direct. It makes sense. You know, we are 3 years removed from from Mario Party Superstars, and I made this one as vague as possible because there could theoretically be DLC for Mario Party Superstars. I don't think there will be. I think we will get a new game in the series, but you know, I didn't want to say a new Mario Party, just because, I mean, it's very possible. Maybe Nintendo does feel like doing DLC opposed to a totally new Mario Party, and maybe saving a new Mario Party for the next Nintendo console, which, you know, that's understandable. Mario Party is a pretty big franchise. They sell most games sell above 10 million copies. Especially on the Nintendo Switch, so it would make sense to save that like as a game if Nintendo would like. You know, they can probably have it within the first 2 years of the next Nintendo console. The next selection that I made, before I get too far into the video, this bingo card is from Good Vibes Gaming. I believe it's Daniel at Good Vibes Gaming made this bingo card, so I will leave a link for it down in the description below. Feel free to download it and make your own bingo card if you would like. But I wanted to make sure I give that shout out as soon as possible, or as quickly as I remember, because, you know, it's not my bingo card, it's someone else's. So the next selection that I would like to add to the bingo card is Kid Icarus. Or this is a pit, but something related to the Kid Icarus series appearing in the Nintendo Direct. Obviously, I would love a new Kid Icarus game, but I don't think that will happen. If Kid Icarus is in the Direct, I believe it will probably be a Kid Icarus Uprising remake, or, oh, well, that would be like my next best thing, like Kid Icarus Uprising remake. But it's either going to be like a Kid Icarus Uprising remaster or HD port or something related in that like sphere of thinking. I went from something that I think is super likely to something that I don't actually think will appear in the Direct at all, but it's a hope of mine, so I just wanted to add it to the bingo card. You know, it's very cool. Kid Icarus is very cool. I would love to have a new Kid Icarus game, or some sort of Kid Icarus game on the Nintendo Switch. But I do feel like we will eventually get a Kid Icarus game, but it will likely be on the next Nintendo platform. Maybe it'll be cross-platform. I mean, cross-generational, or yeah, cross-gen, or obviously backwards compatible. So, or backwards compatible if it's on the Nintendo Switch. You can play on the next console. If the next console is backward compatible, which is a totally different conversation. The next selection that I made is Fire Emblem 4 Remake. So we're going back to things that I feel like is probably pretty likely to appear in this Nintendo Direct. Fire Emblem 4 Remake, I believe it is the next one on the slate to be remade from the Fire Emblem series. There might be one before it that did not get remade, but I'm not necessarily sure. And I think there's a lot of rumors or a general thought that this game is either still, you know, either it's being remade right now, or maybe Nintendo's also already finished the remake and they're just waiting to release it. I've seen a lot of discussion, speculation about that. And since this may be the final Nintendo Switch era Nintendo Direct, I figured, you know, this would probably be the last time, or one of the last times, that we can predict this for Nintendo Switch. So I added it to the bingo card, you know, which is, I mean, why not, right? I mean, we have 24 slots that we can really use for this Direct. So the next selection is Metroid Prime, but I do have an additional caveat to this one. At least 2 games. This one I put here because I feel like if we do see Metroid Prime 2, we'll at least get a mention of Metroid Prime 4, if not seeing Metroid Prime 4. I don't really know where to characterize that. Like in this, I feel like if we do hear about Metroid Prime 4, I should be able to count it, but obviously, you know, we will see what happens when the Nintendo Direct airs. But I also think if we do see Metroid Prime 2, we'll probably see Metroid Prime 3. I'm not going to go as far to say, will they be shadow dropped or not? I think that maybe Metroid Prime 2 be shadow dropped, but not Metroid Prime 3 or something like that. I think there'll be HD ports, but that's not really part of the selection here. I just put at least 2 Metroid Prime games appear in the Nintendo Direct. That could be Metroid Prime 2 HD and Metroid Prime 4. That could be Metroid Prime 2 HD and Prime 3 HD. It could be all 3. I was going to put like at least 2 out of 3. But I mean, maybe even Metroid Prime Federation Forces shows up or something like that. So I wanted to leave that one somewhat vague, but it's also a little bit difficult to get that one if only one of them shows up. I think that's a pretty good, middle ground in that. So the next selection that I made that I wanted to add to my bingo card is a 2D Zelda. My personal preference on this would be that we see a new 2D Zelda. I know that's been speculated a little bit recently, but I don't know if that's going to happen. You know, there's a lot. The main discussion with the Nintendo Direct is what would Nintendo be willing to release on the Nintendo Switch, and what would they be keeping for the next console. Like, what would they want to keep? Maybe a 2D Zelda, like a new 2D Zelda, would fall into that category of them wanting to keep it for the next console. Maybe use as like not filler, because a new 2D Zelda would not be filler, but like maybe to not close the gaps either, but to have Zelda games consistently until the next 3D Zelda. I would love for a new one to be in Nintendo Switch. I would love for a new one to be in the Nintendo Direct. I could definitely see it being used as the major holiday game this year. But I guess we'll see. I left that one kind of vague as well. We could see maybe a HD port of Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds, or maybe something related to the Oracle games. Maybe even Four Swords. I think that's kind of 2D. I would count that here. Maybe like a HD port of Four Swords Adventures or something like that. But if we see something 2D Zelda here, I think that'd be a pretty good win for all of us. So the next selection is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I think this one speaks for itself pretty much. This game has already been announced. It's the first one on here that has already been announced. And I believe there's only 2 more of those, if not only one selection like that. But in my prediction video, I talked about how I feel like if it is in this Nintendo Direct, it'll have a somewhat smaller presence. And I still believe that. I think you'll either get like a small headline in the Direct, or maybe you'll be part like some sort of sizzle reel talking about Nintendo Switch games releasing somewhat soon. But that is all I really, that's all I can really say about it. It's possible Nintendo will release the overview trailer after the Nintendo Direct ends, and maybe connect that to Nintendo Direct as like the Luigi's Mansion 2 presence in the Nintendo Direct, atmosphere. But at the current moment, I think Luigi's Mansion 2 will show up, just in a very, very, very small, presence in the Direct. We'll have a very small presence in the Direct. So the next game is Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D. I put the hero from Dragon Quest 3 here in HD 2D. There's been a lot of rumors that maybe it's evolved into a project that involves the first 3 Dragon Quest games. I didn't really want to count that here because, it's Dragon Quest HD 2D. But I do think at the very least we will see Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D, which is very exciting. It's very exciting. This game was announced, I believe, 3 years ago. So, and we just recently got an update that it's still in development. So, I believe we'll probably see it in the Direct. Obviously, nothing here is guaranteed to be in the Direct, but if there's one game that's already been announced, that I think could have like a pretty major presence in the Direct, it would be Dragon Quest 3 HD 2D. And yeah, it'd be really cool to see this, especially if it evolved into Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3. But I guess time will tell. We are around now 13 hours away, which is crazy. So this next selection is Pokemon Legends ZA. I thought about maybe putting a general Pokemon selection here, because I didn't include any other Pokemon on this bingo card, but I've honestly been thinking, and I think maybe there is a slight chance that if Fire Emblem 4 Remake isn't in this Direct, maybe the Direct does open with Pokemon Legends ZA, like as like the opener to the Direct, like they did with the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC last year. I mean, we will have to see, but I think there is a chance that it will appear here, especially if they're going to use this Direct to talk about much of the lineup before the next Nintendo console releases. I think Pokemon Legends ZA might be in that, that area of like January to like May, somewhere around there. So I feel like it could show up here. I guess that's also the big question. How far is this Direct actually going to go? They said it will focus on games releasing for the Nintendo Switch in the second half of the year. But normally with the June Nintendo Directs, they usually have 1 or 2 first-party games or just games in general that are outside of that range. So the Pokemon Legends EA could be that Metroid Prime 4 could also be that. We'll just have to see on that. So the next game that I included was Super Mario 3D Land, just an HD port of the original game. This is something I talked about earlier. I would love to see Super Mario 3D Land on the Nintendo Switch. It hasn't really been rumored, or there hasn't really been anything that would tell me that it would be on Nintendo Switch. But I figured this is something I would want. Maybe they would want to have a smaller 3D Mario for this holiday. That's already been, maybe with some extra additional content attached to it. But it'd be cool to see Super Mario 3D Land. It was released 13 years ago. I'm sure there's at least one person besides me that would still want to revisit it. So, let's see. Again, we have 24 slots here. I don't think all 24 will get filled in this direct. I'll be lucky if maybe 5 does, but we'll just have to see. All this is just really exciting stuff. So the next selection is a Mii game, a game that features the Miis. I included 2 examples here, being a Wii Party-like game or Tomodachi Life. I think Tomodachi Life is probably the most likely Mii related game, but this is not something I mentioned in the prediction video earlier, so I just wanted to include I'll talk about it a little bit more than I've talked about the other selections here. I think there's possibilities that we may see another Nintendo Switch themed game, like Nintendo Switch Sports, like the Wii Sports series, Nintendo Switch series. I think we could see that one here. I think there's a distinct possibility that a Nintendo Switch Party may be coming to Nintendo Switch in replacement of a Mario Party. I don't know how likely that would be. I'm not sure how successful Wii Party actually was on the Wii and the Wii U, Wii Party U. But I think it would be pretty cool, and again, if Nintendo wants to save a Mario Party for next year or like the year after, and have ND Cube make a Nintendo Switch Party, I think that'd be pretty awesome. I would definitely buy that. It would be really cool. But besides that, we have, give me a second. All right, I apologize for that. I just remembered that the nightlight mode is on Windows, so I had to turn that off. Because I don't know if it'll appear in the video, but the whole screen will turn a amber like color, so I didn't want that to mess with the viewing of this video. But yeah, so I think a Nintendo Switch Party or just a Nintendo Switch series game could appear in this direct. I'm very excited for the possibility to do that. But I just wanted to put a general Mii game will appear in this direct. In case of Tomodachi Life, which would also be really cool. Maybe a port or a Tomodachi Life 2, or I think it'd be like 3 or 4 in the entire series. Like something new, a sequel to Tomodachi Life would also be really cool. And yeah, so the next selection would be a Rhythm Heaven. Again, the reason why I talked about Rhythm Heaven a good amount in the previous video, but the reason why I think Rhythm Heaven could be in this direct is because Rhythm Heaven has been at the end of like many of Nintendo's more recent consoles, like at the end of their lifespan. I believe it was at the end of at least the Wii and the 3DS's lifespan. I'm not sure about the Game Boy, the DS. I'm not sure if it was there at the end of that or maybe a little bit earlier. But I think Rhythm Heaven is a pretty cool game that doesn't necessarily, it wouldn't obviously like sell a lot or make people want to go out and buy a Nintendo Switch that if they don't already have one. But for like fans of Nintendo, I think this could fill like maybe another Code recollection spot in the direct. Something a little bit smaller. Rhythm Heaven's I think a little bit bigger than another Code recollection, or not just another Code series, but it'd be like a smaller title. Maybe they can do like a port of Megamix from, like I think Megamix was on the 3DS. If they could maybe do a port of that, or maybe Rhythm Heaven Fever. those would be like cool ports, but I would also prefer a new Rhythm Heaven. And it's been long enough that I think they maybe have been able to make another Rhythm Heaven. But I think that is honestly my sleeper prediction for this direct. A new Rhythm Heaven will appear. And I think honestly, I think Mario Party is likely, but I think any of these games so far, except maybe Fire Emblem, that I've talked about maybe in like the recent maybe 2 or 3 selections, I think that could honestly replace Mario Party. Maybe a new Tomodachi Life, a Wii Party, a Rhythm Heaven. I think that all could replace Mario Party, or even be sold next to Mario Party in the next coming months. But we will just have to see, I guess. This is it's like it's hard to predict for the Nintendo Direct, especially at the end of a lifespan of the console, because in like earlier years we could have predicted, oh, a new 3D Mario could appear, or a new 3D Zelda, or a Mario Kart. All that stuff is likely now on the next console, being made for the next console. So obviously I'm still thinking there might be 1 or 2 major games in this direct, but like Metroid Prime 4, but a lot of like the larger, more heavy hitter type of stuff is likely on the next console, or being developed for the next console right now. But as I just spoke about heavy hitters, I'm also predicting that Donkey Kong could be here. I think if 2D Zelda is not in this direct, I think Donkey Kong does show up. I think they have a 2D Donkey Kong that they've been making. It doesn't have to be 3D. I know that's been a lot of discussion out there that if a Donkey Kong does show up, it will be in 3D. It doesn't necessarily need to be. I think a 2D Donkey Kong would suffice, especially with the speculation that the Odyssey team is currently working on it alongside 3D Mario or whatever game they're currently working on. I think it's most likely 3D Mario, so I think that'd be pretty cool. Obviously, I think that team would have had to expand to be able to make 2 games, especially with the quality that studio has. But a new 2D Donkey Kong would not be terrible. I guess the other thing would be Donkey Kong Country Returns receiving a port on the Nintendo Switch. I guess that'd be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. Especially if it implements some of the improvements and mechanics that the 3DS version added. I think anything Donkey Kong in this direct would be pretty cool. I will speak about something else for Donkey Kong in just a little bit in one of these other selections, but I think it'd be pretty cool. Anything Donkey Kong would be awesome to appear in this direct. Captain Toad 2. I have speculated a lot on this channel that we would be receiving another Captain Toad eventually. We have not received a new Captain Toad since Treasure Tracker and the ports for Treasure Trackers. So, and I honestly think they probably aren't going to do a new Captain Toad for the current Nintendo Switch. I think that's probably a next gen game, but I still wanted to predict it because it's kind of a tradition to talk about Captain Toad and Kid Icarus on this channel, and so I think it's pretty cool. Captain Toad 2 would be a major surprise, but I'm not expecting it. That's why I put it in this row right here. Well, I didn't actually. I just put it randomly, but now it makes sense. It's next to Luigi's Mansion. It's next to the Nintendo Switch logo. 2D Zelda, Super Mario 3D World, 3D Land, which is obviously the predecessor to where Captain Toad showed up in 3D World, but it's also the successor to Galaxy. So it's like whoa. But I think Captain Toad could show up. A new Captain Toad, maybe Captain Toad DLC, but they've already done Captain Toad DLC. I don't think they'll do more Captain Toad DLC. I think, maybe if Captain Toad shows up in the direct at all, maybe I'll mark this off, because that'd be a huge thing just in general to see Captain Toad in the direct. So the next game that I have here is a spin-off for the Animal Crossing series. Honestly, this could be another Amiibo Festival type game, like a party Animal Crossing game. I don't really know if Nintendo would go back to do that, but again, I could see them, if they're not going to do a Mario Party this year, doing a new Animal Crossing. Like a new Animal Crossing party game, or Animal Crossing like family party game, something like that. So a game that's like, it doesn't require you to have like New Horizons, or isn't like too in depth in like a story or like building like your own town or anything. I think it'd be pretty cool. Animal Crossing is a huge franchise for Nintendo, and I would love to see them do more with it. You know, and I think this is a chance. You know, it's a end of the generation. They could put something out there that's pretty major from Animal Crossing, and see how well it does. And then maybe on the next console, we could see a little bit more advancement of that. You know, that idea, that whatever idea they implement into Animal Crossing. I think that'd be pretty cool. The next thing is a Chibi Robo. I don't know. I just added Chibi Robo. I thought a new Chibi Robo would be really cool. A port of the GameCube game would be pretty cool. Ziplash would be interesting because I haven't played Ziplash, so I can't like speak from my own perspective on this. But I know Ziplash isn't as liked as other Chibi Robo games, or Chibi Robo game. I'm not sure how many Chibi Robo games there have been. But I still think it'd be pretty cool to see Chibi Robo at least pop up. I think we're gonna see at least 1 or 2 GameCube remasters in this direct. And if Chibi Robo, not Ziplash. I'm not sure what the subtitle of the Chibi Robo in the GameCube was, but I think it'd be pretty cool to see a new Chibi Robo or a port of a GameCube game, like an HD port. That'd be really cool. But I'm not expecting a new Chibi Robo. I'm not sure if Nintendo will ever really do anything else with Chibi Robo, but still, I think it'd be really cool just to see another Chibi Robo, or just really anything in general from the Chibi Robo series. Maybe a spinoff for Chibi Robo. I predicted an Animal Crossing spinoff, but what if a Chibi Robo spinoff shows up? I guess we will have to see. But yeah, I think we're pretty cool. See Chibi Robo. I guess also with the Luigi's Mansion, remind me of another thing. Because the Luigi's Mansion 1 HD, I'm not putting a lot of hope into that, or like a lot of like. I think it's obviously more likely we see Luigi's Mansion 2 HD in the direct, but a port of Luigi's Mansion 1 would be pretty cool. And that's why I just wanted to mention that here, because I did write that down also in my predictions. I'm not sure if I mentioned that, but Luigi's Mansion 1 would be really cool to appear on Nintendo Switch. We will have the whole series on the Switch. So Star Fox. This goes in line with what I was talking about with Luigi's Mansion 1 and a GameCube port of the Chibi Robo game from the GameCube. I think we could see Star Fox Adventures or Star Fox Assault, some port from the GameCube. I don't think we'll see a new game in the Star Fox series. I guess also Star Fox Zero is possible. I don't know if they would do that, because I think it would be a little more difficult to do that without the gamepad. They would have to like go in and do a lot of changes to that. But a new Star Fox would be pretty cool. But I don't expect that. I think it's going to be a port of one of the GameCube games. And that would be cool too. You know, see a new Star Fox. Those games would be introduced to a whole new fan base, especially like modern Star Fox fans that maybe got into like the series with Star Fox 64 3D on like the 3DS or something like that. I think that would be pretty cool. So the other thing that I mentioned earlier with Donkey Kong is Nintendo Switch Online. I figured we could see something from Nintendo Switch Online in this direct. That's something I did not mention in my predictions video, just because I was mainly focused on games. But we could see, maybe some N64 games, some Game Boy games, Game Boy Color games, anything like that from Nintendo Switch Online. I don't think we'll see a new console be revealed for the service, just because I think they're probably saving any other console that they have left for the next console. But still, I think it would be pretty cool to see something from Nintendo Switch Online in this direct. The next thing that I included, well, actually, no. Okay, I think 2 things are about to pop up here. Okay. We will talk about Mario Baseball first. Mario Baseball, I think that'd be pretty awesome. I do think we'll see a new Mario Sports game in this direct. I hope it's Mario Baseball, but I also included another sports game that I think is just as likely, maybe a little less likely now that we're in June. That maybe could give a hint about it, but I think it's very possible we still see a new Mario Baseball, Mario Sluggers. Mario Sports Mix is also possible, or like a new Mario Sports collection, but that's not something it would be cool, but I feel like those collections are a lot more just focused on the actual sport and not necessarily like including Mario mechanics in the sports. We look at like Mario Sports Superstars on the 3DS. Those were like basic versions of some of the 3DS games that we had, like Mario Tennis Open and Mario Golf World Tour. I think that would probably also be what we see on the actual, like, if we have another collection for Mario Sports. So I would honestly prefer just a Mario baseball game that's focused in including Mario mechanics in it. The other sports game, but I didn't include it here because I think it's too outlandish. Because we also have another Square Enix game here, and I think Square Enix would probably want to make this one, is Mario Hoops 3-on-3, like a HD port from the DS. Obviously, it'd probably be a remake. But anything from like Mario Hoops would also be really cool. I would honestly take that over Mario Baseball, but I think Mario Baseball is like a close second when it comes to that. Which is, I'm very excited for any Mario Sports that could appear in this Direct. The other selection that I made was major DLC announcement. Honestly, I'm not expecting DLC to be announced in this Direct. I included Pikmin 4 and Super Mario Bros. Wonder because I think those would be the two most likely games to receive DLC. But I do feel like it's somewhat not likely, or somewhat I think Nintendo's probably finished with these games, and they're probably maybe working on Pikmin 5 and maybe the next Super Mario Bros. Wonder, like the next series in the next game in the Super Mario Bros. Wonder series. So I'm not too confident in this one, but I still wanted to include it because, or if this Direct is it, I think they're going to go all out and, give a lot of, what this lineup may look like for the next couple of months, or for like what the Nintendo Switch lineup looks like going into March of 2025. So we have 5 more spots here to fill out. We have Mario and Sonic at the 2024 Paris Olympic Summer Games. Just like with Mario Sports, this is the game I was talking about, where I think it's just as Mario's Baseball. It's just as likely for this game to appear in this Direct, I feel. Maybe just a little less likely, just because it is about 2 months away from the Paris Olympics. So it would be somewhat difficult for this game to appear in the Direct. But yeah, I feel like Mario Sluggers or something different than Mario and Sonic at the 2024 Paris Olympic Summer Games. I don't think that's going to be the title. I think I mixed up some words there. But I think probably a more focused sports game, or maybe even the sports collection, is more likely than Mario and Sonic, just because I think it's a little too late for the games now. But still, I wanted to mention it because you never know. I mean, they could... I guess Mario and Sonic is a fairly simple game that they could, announce tomorrow and then market it, in the 2 months or so, maybe release it like right before the Olympics. And I guess this would be the first time. Actually, no, it would not be. I was going to say, I think this might have been the first time that the Mario and Sonic game would be released in like just on one console. But I think 2020 also just released on the Nintendo Switch. So still, I think it'd be pretty cool. If I had to choose between these two, I would choose Mario Baseball, but I think I would have a lot of fun with a new Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games. But I guess we'll just have to see. I think we will see Mario Sports, and I think it'll be Mario Baseball, but Mario and Sonic will be also pretty cool. So we're on to the final 4 selections of the bingo card. And the first one is Plucky Squire. We have started seeing a little more of the game in recent weeks. I think like in connection like Summer Game Fest, they've released like a couple of clips related to the game. I think we got previews I'm not sure about that, but I think I think at least people at Summer Game Fest did play the game. I think we might be getting previews soon if we haven't already. So I think this would be the perfect time to announce a release date. Maybe give it another trailer. It will definitely. I don't think it would be like a spotlight or anything. So it would be like a smaller trailer and like as like a headline. But I think that'd be pretty cool. I think it'd be really cool to see Plucky Squire. I was honestly debating putting either Hollow Knight or Plucky Squire here. And to me, I think Hollow Knight and Plucky Squire. I think Plucky Squire is the more likely one to show up here. But I know obviously Hollow Knight would probably be the more exciting one just because it's been so anticipated for so long. But for me, the indie I'm most excited for is the Plucky Squire. So I decided, why not? Why not put this one here? I do think it will show up. Instead of maybe going for the long shot prediction with Hollow Knight, which I did not talk in my predictions video, but I think Hollow Knight does have a small chance of bringing this direct. They could do something on their own for Hollow. I think Hollow Knight's big enough that they could do something on their own. But if they do want to be an event, I think the Nintendo Direct would be a pretty awesome event to be part of if they'd like to reveal the release date during the Direct. So the final 3 selections, all 3 at the bottom right here, are games from level 5, which would include Professor Layton, Fantasy Life, maybe a new Yokai Watch. I think maybe a couple months ago, before they delayed the level 5 Vision event from April to this summer, I think would have been a lot more likely for level 5 to appear in the Direct. But I'm also feeling like maybe there's a chance that maybe commitments for the Direct was made around then. So I think, if they did make a commitment to be in the Direct, maybe they have something for Professor Layton or Fantasy Life, or maybe a new Yokai Watch in the Direct that maybe they'll talk about in their Vision. Maybe they'll add a little bit more context to those things that we see in the Direct from the Vision. But this is probably the first time ever I've actually included just a general company in my prediction here. I think one year I included Next Level. I think that might have been the year we got Mario Strikers. But I think level 5 would be pretty cool. Next level games, level 5. I think that's pretty cool. And the last 2 that I'm just going to reveal right now is a new Kirby and a new Pushmo, or a new Pushmo, Pulmo. I believe there's another version. In the prediction video, I also said I believe there's another version. I think there is. But I don't want to, provide any. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I think there's a third, maybe even a fourth. But I do think we might see a new one in that series, which is very exciting. That would definitely be a smaller announcement. That would be in the headlines. It would be maybe a shadow drop of sorts in the Direct. If we don't get a actual GameCube game shadow drop, I think a new Pulmo Pushmo type of game would be really cool. A new puzzle game like that. And then the final game is a Kirby game. I don't think it would be a new mainline Kirby game, but I could see a new spin-off of sorts. I could see maybe a port of a spin-off. I could see a port of a mainline game as well. If I had to make a prediction, I think it would be Planet Robobot. That's been speculated a lot recently, but I think it'll be either Triple Deluxe, Planet Robobot. I wrote this down actually, so let me get it. I think it'll be Triple Deluxe, Planet Robobot, the Rainbow Curse, or Kirby's Air Ride. Any of those, I think, would be very cool ports. And then maybe Kirby's Air Ride, or maybe a smaller Kirby game, a smaller Kirby spinoff could get a sequel in this Direct. But Kirby is a pretty cool series that is usually even when you go further, it's one of the last series to leave the older Nintendo console. So I could definitely see a new Kirby game appearing in the Direct. Well, that is my whole bingo card. We have Kid Icarus, an Animal Crossing spin-off, Pokemon Legends ZA, Chibi Robo, Mario Party, some DLC announcements, HD 2D Dragon Quest game, more than likely a HD 2D Dragon Quest 3, Mario Sluggers, Mario Baseball, Star Fox, Mario Nintendo Switch Online, Super Mario 3D Land, a new 2D Zelda, or any type of 2D Zelda, a sequel to Captain Toad, Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, and maybe Luigi's Mansion HD being ported to, or Luigi's Mansion from a GameCube being ported as an HD game to the Nintendo Switch, the Plucky Squire, some sort of Mii game, maybe a Tomodachi Life, maybe a Nintendo Switch Party type of game, Rhythm Heaven, a new Donkey Kong, or a game like Donkey Kong Country Returns, or even an NSO Donkey Kong game being released on the Nintendo Switch, a Mario and Sonic type of game at the Olympic Games, at least 2 Metroid Prime games, Level 5, some sort of game from Level 5, or a couple of games from Level 5, a new Push Mo Pull Mo type of game, a new Kirby game, or some sort of Kirby game. I mean, I guess the Push Mo game could also just be like a port, like expanded content from one of the older games, and then Fire Emblem 4 Remake. That is all I have for you all today. This bingo card was really cool. Again, it is made by, I believe, Daniel at GVG Good Vibes Gaming. So I'll once again put that down in the description below. But that is all I have for you all today. I will be back tomorrow to record my reaction to the Nintendo Direct. I am very, very excited for it. I don't know how many of these are yet right. I think maybe a new Mario Party, maybe a new Kirby, maybe a new Donkey Kong, 2D Zelda, Mario Baseball, Nintendo Switch Online, maybe Metroid. But I think everything else is a possibility, but isn't as likely. Maybe DLC announcements, but Luigi's Mansion. But yeah, that is all I have for you all today. So I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Make sure to make you happy, because it rhymes generic happy, and goodbye.